School here in Plymouth, Minnesota. It's time for a little non-conference girls basketball action here on a Thursday night as the Armstrong Falcons host the Bloomington Kennedy Eagles. Good evening, everyone. I'm Bill Hupp alongside my color analyst, former Park Center coach Patty Sorensen. And Patty, these two teams have come in with not many games. In fact, Armstrong just played its first game the other day against Mounds View on Tuesday. So at this point, both coaches just trying to kind of learn what they have on their rosters right now.
Exactly. I think both coaches are in the same boat as far as a lot of changes in personnel. So even though, you're looking at Kennedy, their fourth game, and these guys their second, they're still trying to put the puzzle pieces together and see how everybody's fitting together and what they're doing well and what they need to improve on.
Well, one of the players that Robbinsdale Armstrong, Bloomington Kennedy and head coach Quentin Johnson will rely upon is Macy Miller, the junior guard, 5'7", the third Miller sister to play for Coach Johnson. Comes in averaging 17 a game, just scored 21 in their win on Tuesday, and she's really the one that stirs the drink for this Eagle squad.
Exactly. She seems to be able to do a lot for him. She scored 21 the other game, but she's had a season high already of 25. He says she does it all. He said she's strong, she's physical, and, he's just, like you said, third Miller I've had, so he's liking this.
It's a family affair for the Bloomington Kennedy Eagles. Meanwhile, Robbinsdale Armstrong led by Peyton Erickson, a 5'9" senior forward, and she had 13 in the loss to a good Mounds View team on Tuesday. And Coach Antoine Easley, longtime coach for the Falcons, will look for her to replace a big loss for the Falcons in Savannah McGowan.
Well, definitely. I mean, there's a lot of changes here, but they're looking for Peyton to do a lot of things. He said, number one, she's a three-sport athlete, which is amazing. I love that when kids do that. But he said she's a perimeter shooter. She can scrappy defender. She's just kind of an all-around. She'll play both ends of the floor for you, and I love that. I love it when you hear kids going to play both ends because defense is number one.
Absolutely, and you really want, kind of like in baseball, baseball or softball, a very toolsy player is always handy to have. So it should be a fun non-conference battle. We'll have opening tip for you coming up next on CCX.
CCX Media, your source for great local programming, is available on Amazon Fire TV, Apple TV, and Roku. Our free app allows you to stream all three of our channels live. You also have access to a large on-demand library, including full sporting events and daily newscasts. To find us, go to the store, search CCX, and download our free app. Then sit back and enjoy all of your favorite local content. The CCX Media app, available on Amazon Fire TV, Apple TV, and Roku.
Back here at Armstrong High School in Plymouth, Minnesota, getting ready to hear the opening tip between Bloomington Kennedy and Robbinsdale Armstrong, an early season non-conference matchup. And Bill Hupp and former Park Center head coach Patty Sorensen. And Patty, you've had a couple games here at the Robbinsdale Armstrong gym. We just saw Patty Whalen, former head coach of the Falcons, but this gym must bring back a lot of memories for you.
Oh, it sure does. I remember before Patty Weldon became the AD here, she had coached girls basketball here and coaching her back then, and being in this gym and then coaching against Coach Easley, and we came out on top some nights, and sometimes you know how that goes. Sometimes you don't.
One of those
fun place.
One of those things for sure. So I'll give you the starting lineups for both teams: Robbinsdale Armstrong and Kennedy. As you see, Macy Miller, Alicia Richardson, Haley Williams, Latasha Carter, and Leilani Harris. Emily Fisher, Madison Fondau, Maya Dillard, Peyton Erickson, and Jade Peterson, the starters tonight for Robbinsdale Armstrong. Armstrong in the red uniforms with the blue trim, white lettering and numerals. Kennedy, the white uniforms with the navy blue lettering, gold trim. Two longtime head coaches, Patty, doing battle here. Quentin Johnson in his 12th season in charge of the Eagles, and Antoine Easley on the other side in his 19th year in charge of Armstrong.
Both of them a lot of experience. They had a lot of good players come through on both sides that they've been able to coach, and this should be really exciting to watch the two of them and see, like I said earlier, they're still adjusting, putting all the pieces together, and a lot of new faces on the floor together. So we'll see how this turns out.
Yep, it'll be an adjustment. We'll see how both teams line up defensively as Antoine Easley gets his charges ready to go here. They had staff appreciation night before the game, so each player walked out with a teacher, their favorite teacher, and it's always fun to see.
Yeah, and the staff loves it when kids do that, and it's such an honor.
3 seniors and 2 juniors in the starting lineup for Armstrong. Kennedy starts at 3 seniors, a sophomore and a junior. It will be Leilani Harris to tip it off for Bloomington Kennedy against Jade Peterson, and the opening tap is won by Macy Miller and Kennedy, and she misses the layup a little bit strong, but Kennedy gets the rebound. Miller tracks it down near the timeline. Armstrong playing straight up. No zone in the early going. Trapped out on high is Latasha Carter. And Carter called for a 5 seconds. Meanwhile, we've got a player on the ground. Appears to be shaken up. And that is number 23, Haley Williams, who we'll see if she collides here. She appeared like her ankle was stepped on. She's in the game, though. I think she took the worst of that in the fall.
Yeah, it looks like more the tailbone, it looks like, is hurting her right now, and just kind of how that collision happened. You know, you had some very aggressive defense out there with the Falcons, and they're playing tough defense.
Yeah, that extended pressure, that's how you get the 5-second call, right? So
Exactly.
in the early going here from Plymouth.
I think they're making sure everybody's got their jerseys
Tucked in, yeah, the old tuck-in check as Emily Fisher goes across the timeline and bounces right wing. Hitting a cutting Peyton Erickson off the mark, out of bounds. It'll stay here on this end with Robbinsdale Armstrong. And a lot of times it's so early in the season, Patty, that sometimes you don't even know the out-of-bounds plays very well.
Well, and that's it, especially if you have a lot of newer players that are playing. I know, especially for the Cooper, they've, 4 starters graduated last year, so there's a lot of new faces in this rotation working together.
Blocking foul after they doubled the post and tried to get it out of Leilani Harris's hands. I believe that's going to be on number 20. Indeed it is. Maya Dillard picks up her first personal foul. Harris gets it inside, backs down, and the rebound grabbed by Dillard. They're going to call a jump ball, and it'll be possession arrow to Armstrong.
I think we're going to see Kennedy trying to get the ball into their posts a little bit too, and just, they've got 2 posts out there and posting up hard, so I'm predicting we're going to see a lot more of that going inside.
Meanwhile, a whistle and a foul on this end, as that's going to be on number 2. Alessia Richardson. That's the scorekeeper's error right there. I had her marked down as number 12. Number 2, Alessia Richardson picks up the foul, trying to track Dillard. 3-pointer short. Rebound grabbed by Harris. Yeah, a couple 5s, 10 centers out there for the Eagles. Definitely will dictate how they play because they do have the size advantage out there. Dillard gets her hand in the passing lane. Lucky that she did not pick up a second personal foul reaching like that, but stays with the Eagles.
And I think she's one of those players that, as you watch her, she likes to be aggressive in there on the defense, and she isn't going to back down, but you're right, you got to be a little careful.
Miller for 3 from the right wing. It's good. Macy Miller coming off a game-high 21 in the win on Tuesday over Simley. Gets the first points on the board for the Eagles. Dumped inside, but a little too tall for Dillard. Each team now with a turnover. And it's one of those things, Patty, we talked about in the Open. These two teams are probably going to be a lot better by the end of the year than they are in the early going right now.
Oh, most definitely. You know, it's the first few games, it's like you can have a good game, and the next game just trying to get the pieces together. So these are all learning games and looking at what we do well and what we're going to do better next time.
Consistency as well. As that shot off the mark, but a foul, and so I think we'll have our first free throws of the game as Latasha Carter draws the personal. Dillard second, team second, and you made a great point, Patty, when you talked about her game is aggression, right? She likes to play aggressive and make things happen, as Carter is off the mark with the first, but now she's got 2 personal fouls, and she's going to get subbed here. That's an early season mistake.
Yep.
As Anna Shepard, the 5'7" freshman guard, checks in, replacing Dillard.
No, you like that she wants to play aggressive, but it's you got to be a little smarter on when you choose to go for things and get your feet moving and get in good position.
Long rebound pulled down by Harris. There's a shot. Soft shot goes in for Alessia Richardson. 5-0. Eagles out to an early lead. 3-pointer from the wing. In and out. Erickson tracks down her own miss. Out of bounds. Off of her knee and goes back to Kennedy.
Looks like Armstrong's going to put a little more pressure, pick the guards up full cart.
Got Erickson against Miller, our 2 players to watch facing each other. We talked about Erickson's love of defense, and she's got the tough assignment in checking Macy Miller. Probably a good decision by Coach Easley to put his best defender on their best player. Long 3-pointer by Harris is off the mark. Back tap to Jade Peterson. Armstrong pushes. Peterson on the deck. Near side for the freshman. Shepard hands for Peyton Erickson. On the cut, no good. And Armstrong finding it tough to find the basket right now. We're 2.5 minutes gone by in the first half. 3.5 minutes, I should say. It's still 5-0.
Yeah, they need to get that first one just to get the momentum going for them.
Meanwhile, Shepard, who replaced Dillard with 2 fouls, picks up one of her own on the dribble drive. And so it's going to be free throws coming up for Haley Williams. Already the 3rd team foul on Armstrong.
Yeah, and you don't want them getting their points from the free throw line. You want to make them work a little harder for that.
Haley Williams averaging 8 points a game, the 5'9" senior forward. And she goes 2 for 2. 7-0 run to start the game for Kennedy. Near side Fisher, cut off by Harris. Smallest player versus the tallest. Erickson's 3 in and out. Miller's there for the rebound.
Well, in that last possession there, Kennedy puts on some trapping pressure, especially as soon as they crossed half court. It made Armstrong speed up their play, which might not be to their advantage right now.
Dribble drive for Harris, and a charge is called as 2 Armstrong Falcons hit the deck. Leilani Harris picks up her first personal foul. Team second. Great job by both Fisher and Anna Shepard standing in and taking the charge.
You can already see it's going to be a physical game out there because it's...
Fisher gets all the way to the cup and lays it in. First basket for the Falcons, courtesy of Emily Fisher. 7-0 run for Kennedy to start the game. It's 7-2 as Miller pulls up. Too hard off the glass, and Fisher tracks down the loose ball. Fisher pushes across the timeline. 3-pointer for Shepard from the left wing is good. And a timeout taken, 30-second timeout by Quentin Johnson. What do you think he's telling his kids in the huddle there, Patty?
Well, he's going to talk about how they Armstrong did a great job of moving the ball up this last time, transitioning it up, moving it a little quicker, getting an open shot. And he's going to identify, okay, who's got who? What are we doing on defense? And he's going to recheck that out.
Yeah, because if you saw on the replay, both players came out to close out that shot. And if Shepard had wanted to, she could have found Jade Peterson underneath for a layup. So you got to sort out the defense. So a 7-0 run by Kennedy to start the game has been answered by a 5-0 run from Armstrong.
Well, and he's also telling them, make or miss, you got to identify where your players are. You got to get back. Your job is to get back on defense, because defense is what we need to get done first.
Sometimes, and again, that underscores the importance of communication, especially defensively.
Exactly, and that's one thing both teams are going to be working on, is improving their team communication with play, with so many new players.
Out of the timeout, Armstrong picks up full court. Just trying to disrupt the rhythm. Miller goes between her legs with the dribble, and she is fouled. An aggressive closeout there by Erickson. As you see, the ball just got kind of hung up there, and then Erickson, out of control, knocked Miller on her back. So a fourth team foul already on Armstrong. First on Erickson. Underneath, good post denial on the entry pass by Jade Peterson.
Jade did a great job of coming around and making sure she didn't get body, but got the ball to at least be able to deflect it.
He used that near side hand as well.
Yes.
Fronted excellently. Up top, three-pointer, well, maybe inside the three-point line. Ultimately tracked down by Fondal. Here comes Shepard with the dribble. Shepard Euro stepping into the lane and laying it in.
Nice job.
Anna Shepard with 5 of the first 7 points for Armstrong, and all of a sudden we're tied. Teams trading 7-0 runs.
I think you see Armstrong becoming a little more comfortable. They now push the tempo the way they wanted to push it versus being pushed by Kennedy.
Nearly a jump ball, but Kennedy comes away. Good ball movement, swung to the other side, and they made it 3. Drained there by Haley Williams. She's got 5. Excellent ball movement there by the Eagles. And then they steal it on the other end. Williams across the timeline. 3rd turnover of the game already on Robbinsdale Armstrong. Wild shot nearly goes in, but a blocking foul is called. As we take a look at the last couple baskets. Something of a Euro step, just a little floater in the lane. And then just great ball movement. The extra pass, so important, Patty.
And that is, it's once the kids realize that, and they understand that that's how they're going to be successful as a team, many things happen off that extra pass.
Haley Williams off to a nice start. She's got 6, including 3 from the free throw line, and it's 11-7 Eagles.
Well, and Haley's averaging right now, this will be their 4th game, but her 2nd game. So I misinterpreted that data, but she just seems so comfortable up there right now.
Short on that one, so 1 for 2 from the line, 3 or 4 overall tonight. Here comes Fisher, weaving her way between defenders, leaves the runner short. It's saved in nicely, though, there by Richardson. Miller into the front court. She'll back out the dribble and run the offense. Miller gets it back. 3 is long. There's Williams with a rebound, blocked. Shot blocked by Peterson. Shepard up ahead, underneath, and Ella Cooley, who's into the game for the first time, will go to the free throw line. After earning that foul in transition, believe it's going to be Tasha Carter picking up her first. Again, Shepard just making things happen. She really is playing with a confidence you don't see often from first-year players.
Exactly, and how much time did she get coming in off the bench or whatever in the past, or how much did she contribute in the past? But it's nice to see your player out there being confident and going with it.
Off the mark with the first. Ella Cooley, one of 2 freshmen along with Shepard, seeing some minutes. First time in the game for number 25, Lanaya Doss.
Stewart. That's I believe their 7th grader they have out there on the floor right now.
Oh, Lanaya Stewart, excuse me. I wrote it down as, jeez. Lanaya Stewart, beg your pardon. 5'5", 7th grader. Stewart. Top of the key for Williams. This is Miller. And we talked to Coach Quentin Johnson. You did, and he said Stewart was going to get some minutes. So,
right, and they're doing what he's wanting them to read what they're getting, you know. And they were moving the ball very well. It was nice to see when they had trouble, they reverse pivot, kick the ball back out.
Miller 0 for her first 5 as she leaves that one short. I beg your pardon, she has hit a 3, but struggling from the field in the early going. Meanwhile, a jump ball and the turnover forced as the ball will go back to Kennedy. 5 team fouls on Robbinsdale Armstrong, 3 on Bloomington Kennedy. Already the 4th turnover of the half on Armstrong. Dribble drive in the lane. Stewart, I believe she traveled, and she did.
But, you know, the fun thing to watch about it is she's not playing timid. You know, you got a 7th grader out there with juniors and seniors, and she's playing ball, you know.
Yeah, no, she does not look overawed by the moment.
Well, I love it when coaches talk to their kids. It's like, okay, you're playing varsity basketball. You're not a 7th grader. You're not an 8th grader, 9, junior, senior. You are a varsity basketball player, and that's the way they got to look at it.
Shepard with a little scoop shot. Stewart comes away with the basketball. Into the front court. Back for Williams. On the block, double down. They're really doubling that post hard. And another jump ball called. This time it'll go back to the Falcons.
They're doing a good job of recognizing that when the ball's getting into the post and they're doubling down on them. It's, you know, there's a little bit of a height advantage for Kennedy there, and that's helping compensate it, and you get both people double down.
(11-8) our score. Stewart. That looked like a charge, and it is. Yep. She was camped out there.
Yep, she was waiting. Yeah.
I want to correct myself, Patty. I've been calling Anna Smelzer Anna Shepard this whole time. It's Smelzer.
Oh.
Early going for broadcasters, too.
Well, you know, we've got two.
We do. There is an Anna Shepard, but she's 32.
There is 2 of them. There's 2 Annas on the same team, yes.
Okay, yep. Clerical error. That's what I'm going to blame it on. Kennedy, their 3rd turnover of the half. Just about midway through the first half of action. 11-8 our score. Little give and go underneath. Erickson loses control. She's kind of struggled in the early going as she's 0 for her first 4 and turned it over there. So now they pick up in almost a diamond 1-2-2. Yeah, 1-2-2. We'll see if they drop back into the more traditional defense, and they do here. 3-pointer on the way for Williams, and it's good. Drains it from the top of the key. Haley Williams has been the star of the first half. She's got 9 of the 14 for the Eagles.
She's been averaging 8 points so far this year, so she's already passed that up.
She's headed for a career high the way she's going. They're just past the midway point of the first half. She already has 9. Leads all scorers. Fisher downhill with the dribble. Missed it.
It was a nice drive to the basket that she made. She just couldn't get it to finish.
Long 3 for Williams is off the mark. Rebound, good unselfish pass underneath. No good. Another drop pass. And that one off the mark. And that one is good. And now it's Antoine Easley that wants a timeout after Avriana Jackson into the game for the first time, the sophomore guard making things happen. As we take a look at the last 2 baskets, Kennedy doubling up Armstrong 16-8.
That was a long three right there. She wasn't, nice, smooth touch.
Absolutely drained it from a distance, and then good rebound and stick back underneath by number 33, Latasha Carter, for her first basket.
What I liked about that last possession with them, where you saw that the post made it down there was many rebounds, but then they were always trying to get out to the open person, and they worked together so well as a unit that time.
Great interior passing, too, by Avriana Jackson. Unselfish from the sophomore. As each team has now used a timeout. Here in the early going. 16-8 our score, as now Kennedy comes out of the timeout in a zone. Gives Armstrong a little bit of a different look. Patty, how should a team attack a zone?
Well, it all depends on the kind of zone you're seeing and what your personnel are, but you also want to make sure you're finding those gaps, you're moving the ball, getting the defense shifted over to get your open shot or your cut.
Steal for Macy Miller. Finishes on the other end with a layup. Kennedy's bench absolutely hyped as Kennedy has gone on an 11-1 run. 7-7 at one point. It's now 18-8, largest lead of the game at 10. In the middle, Fondau, or Peterson rather. Battle for the rebound, out of bounds. It'll stay down on this end with the Falcons. So Macy Miller with 5, Haley Williams with 9, Carter and Richardson with 2 apiece. So Armstrong just looks to try to stem the tide here, trailing by a 10. Erickson thought about the 3, steps to the side. Long 2 is no good. Rebound and a foul underneath. I believe that's going to be the second on Lailani Harris. If it is, nope, they're going to get, I beg your pardon, they're going to get Macy Miller with that personal. This is Fisher on the right wing. Swung around, Fondau, long 3 is good. Madison Fondau drains a long 3. And it's 18-11.
Almost a nice pickoff there.
Miller's 3 is no good, back tapped. And that's going to be the hard thing too with 2 centers on the floor, is how do you rebound on the defensive end? Pressure defense, and Latasha Carter picks up her second foul with a reach.
And if the defense would have been a little more patient, they had her there. They had her trapped and she was in a little struggle, but then they reached.
6th team foul, so one more, I believe it's going to be the 1-and-1. Yes. They get to 7. Still 6 minutes and 47 seconds left, and now a foul on the other end. As that is going to be on Jade Peterson, her first, trying to establish position there in the post.
You know, and it's interesting because I've watched a lot of that, and sometimes you're wondering how it's going to go, you know, defense or offense or as a wrap. And some kids had gotten by with the wraps before, and now they're paying a little more attention, and they got to be careful on that.
Miller picks up the dribble. Gets it back into the middle. Outside for Williams. 18-11, Kennedy leads here. On the road, looking for their second win of the week. Their second straight win after suffering 2 pretty close losses to begin with. Shot clock running out, and Macy Miller cans the 3.
That was beautiful ball movement there. They just kept working the ball and making good cuts and got a good wide open shot.
You know, it just occurred to me, Patty, this is my first game with a shot clock
well,
for high school.
The last game we did, it really didn't come into play too many times.
Pull up Jay, off the mark. Yeah, no, it just occurred to me that, like, wow, that's, yeah, because people were saying 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and it's like, oh yeah, there's a shot clock.
Right.
Because it has not been a factor thus far. We've not seen defensive intensity enough to or for sustained enough periods. But now with the zone, we might see that as we're nearing 10 seconds left on the shot clock. Good bounce pass, great cut. Unselfish play as Carter finds Harris on the cut, and Antoine Easley takes another timeout. 22nd timeout. Actually, that might have been taken by Quentin Johnson. I beg your pardon.
Yep, Coach Johnson came running down. He wanted a timeout on that. That was patient. The drive, looking unselfish and looking for your teammates. You know, she was getting doubled and the post saw it and she came right down. Nice, easy bounce pass to her and a finish.
And that's what happens, right? When you're defensively ball watching, sometimes you can get caught on the backdoor cut.
Exactly.
So now Harris joining Carter and Richardson, all 5 starters on the scoreboard here in this first half for Kennedy. 23-11, their largest lead of the game.
Well, and Coach his players are starting to do what he told me that he wanted them to do. You know, he just see, read, react, make the cuts. Don't expect a lot of set plays. Just read what you're getting from the defense and take advantage of it.
Each team with 6 fouls as we have 5:19 remaining first half. 23-11. Bloomington Kennedy leading Robbinsdale Armstrong here on CCX. Bill Hupp and former Park Center head coach Patty Sorensen. Pleased to be calling this game, this non-conference battle early in the season. Fondow picks up the dribble. Knocked away, good defensive pressure, and it finds its way to Miller. Unofficially the 6th turnover of the first half on Robbinsdale Armstrong. High ball screen, Williams drives baseline, leaves the runner short. Bodies tumbling to the floor. And it's going to be Armstrong basketball as Harris took a tumble and she's a little slow to get up.
Yeah, I think there was bodies on the floor and she tripped over that. And then I also think the ball kind of maybe ended up underneath her, knocking the wind out a little bit.
Yeah, you can see the first player hit the deck and then
somebody went on top of her too. It was like boom.
Kind of dominoes right there as Fisher initiates the offense. Smelzer drives, tripped up. I think it's going to be a foul on Williams on the floor, but it'll be 1-1 as that's the 7th team foul of the first half.
Right. You know, and that's part of the thing too when you play aggressive, and you got to be able to play aggressive and not commit the fouls. And you know, you're going to see more sometimes when 2 teams are playing like this. But that's the thing you want to work with on your defense. You're moving your feet. You're getting into position. Let's not put them at the free throw line.
Smelzer long on the first, and then she commits the personal foul as Miller dribbled up court. So now Miller will go to the free throw line. And talk about a compounding error, right? You miss the front end of the 1-on-1, and then you commit the foul.
Yeah, that's kind of the frustration thing.
Freshman mistake, I would say, as Smelzer picks up her 2nd. Miller, just a junior, leading this team in scoring in the early going. And she missed the front end of the 1-on-1.
The rim has been pretty tough on both teams a little bit tonight.
Erickson finds the bottom of the net. Peyton Erickson with her first points after she led the Falcons in scoring against Mounds View in their opening game. 23-13, back to a 10-point lead. Largest lead of the half for Kennedy was 12. 4 minutes to go before the halftime break. Underneath, Harris doubled. And again, second charge of the game called on Harris as Fisher came over and took the charge. Kennedy has 5 turnovers, and I believe at least 3 of them are offensive fouls as we take a look at this replay.
I don't know.
It looked like she was in the arc.
Yeah, and it looked like they were still moving, and she had the right to the basket, but they saw something different than we did.
Eighth team foul of the first half on Kennedy. Fisher dribbling, missed the floater. Harris is there, and this time Harris is the one who's fouled. Ella Cooley a little too aggressive. So I believe that we'll walk to the other end, and Harris will shoot 2.
Harrison is playing really tough. I mean, she's posting hard, working hard on the offensive side, making some good solid moves, and then defensively down there, she's just working really hard on both ends.
Lonnie Harris averaging 12.7 points a game, the 5'10 center. Long on the first. Free throws, it has not been an exhibition so far.
Yep, I'm sorry, excuse me on that. I'm thinking the more confident she gets in improving on her footwork down there offensively, she's going to be tougher to stop.
Oh, yeah. When she develops a couple of, like, really dependable post moves, she's going to be really tough. As Miller will go to the free throw line, she tries to split a pair of Falcons. And it looks like they're going to give this one to Erickson. So Peyton Erickson with her second. A lot of players with 2 fouls as we're playing here late in the first half. Carter will take out Harris, give her a rest before half. Macy Miller. Oh, sorry, go ahead,
I was just going to say, which is a good idea. She's got 2 fouls right now, and you know, you've got a decent lead, so we don't need any more foul trouble. We need her in the second half.
Miller smooth with that free throw. 9 first half points for her, tied with her teammate Haley Williams. They have 18 of Kennedy's 24 points. Spins the dribble. In and out on that one. So 1 of 2 from the line. 24-13. It's been a little bit of a scoring drought for the Eagles. Battle of the Birds here tonight. 3-pointer for Fondau has already hit once from there today. Missed. Cooley grabs it. They're going to say jump ball, and it's going to go back to Kennedy. I think he easily wanted a foul, but jump ball was the call. And again, Armstrong picking up full court. Peterson knocks it out of bounds as they tried to get it up for Carter. Three minutes in the half, 30 on the shot clock. Williams. They're switching those ball screens, those dribble handoffs up top, which makes sense with players that are that defensively adaptable. As
right.
Miller leaves that one short. 3-pointer for Cooley is good. Ella Cooley drains it from distance.
I think in one way you're going to look at this and it's like, well, this is the 4th game for Kennedy. These girls have played together on game 4, so they have a little more momentum in that sense. It'll be crucial to see how quickly Armstrong adapts with their players, because they've got some great players and they've had some good opportunities for shots. They just haven't dropped for them.
Ball knocked out of bounds. It'll stay here with Kennedy. 2:21 to go first half. 24-16. Haley's feet are on the 2-point line. Good offensive rebound by Carter. Carter's impressed me as well. Good interior passing as she finds Miller. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Just about 2 minutes to go first half. Very physical defense for Fisher, and they force the turnover. Fisher into the front court, knocks Miller over, kind of extended, throws herself back, no call, and Fisher's able to hit the little runner.
I think she was hoping for a call there, but I think Fisher did the right thing.
Well, it's bad when you exaggerate it like 2 seconds after the contact happened. Then you know it's really hard to sell it as a tie-up on the other end turns the ball back over to the Falcons. Now the Falcons going on a little bit of a run. It was 24-13. They've gone on a 5-0 spurt to cut it to 6. And you just have a feeling, Coach, that it's going to be back and forth like this all game.
Yeah, it seems to look that way.
Back into zone look is Kennedy. Sometimes it paralyzes teams when you switch mid-possession. They really don't know what to do. Well, and they look tentative.
Right, and it's like, okay, remember we've done this before. We got to get in the seams. We got to overload a side. We got to get the open pass. One more pass is what we might need.
Over the back called, and so we'll have free throws. Walk to the other end. 1:09 to play first half, 24-18. As Number 32 for Kennedy, Avriana Jackson. 5'7" sophomore guard will shoot 2.
I saw the official call for 1-on-1, but I believe we're in the double bonus right now.
Yeah, 10th team foul. We'd be in the double bonus. Jackson playing some minutes late here. Off the mark with the first. Jackson long goes 0 for 2. Fisher's a good rebounding guard. She comes away with it there, tries to thread the needle, and Williams read it well. Here comes Haley Williams. Erickson tries to take the charge, none called. Williams finishes with a layup. She's got 11. Fondau splits the defenders underneath, and Peterson can't get it to drop. Carter snatches away the rebound. 26-18 with 40 seconds left. About a 10-second difference between shot and game clock. Miller watched by Fisher up high. He'll use the high ball screen and get to the cup. And I think they're going to get Fisher on a hand check at the elbow. A block, technically. Has a great pass ahead, but it was well read all the way by Williams. And then watch her avoid the contact with Erickson. Or at least not enough.
Evidently, yeah.
And so Macy Miller will go to the free throw line for the 4th time in this half, trying to extend her team's lead back to double digits. Broadcaster's jinx, she missed the first. Miller with 9 in this first half. Haley Williams with 11. 20 of Kennedy's 26 points. As Miller hits the second. So 2 players now in double figures for Kennedy as we have no shot clock on. 20 seconds left first half, and Armstrong will presumably hold for one final shot. Kicked there by Stewart and out of play. They would reset the shot clock, but there is no shot clock.
Right, exactly.
27-18, a 9-point Kennedy lead.
Well, and I think all these kids, especially if they're all playing AU, they've been using the shot clock a little bit, so it's a little more comfortable for them.
It's a good thing in general, I think, for the game.
I do too.
8 seconds. Erickson dials up a 3 and hits. Peyton Erickson has 5 in this first half. Final shot by Stewart is off the top of the backboard. So we've reached the halftime break here in Plymouth. Kennedy started the game on a 7-0 run, and they lead it 27-21 here on the road at the end of one. Back with halftime analysis, highlights, and more from Armstrong in a moment. 27-21, Kennedy leads the Falcons here on CCX.
CCX Media, your source for great local programming, is available on Amazon Fire TV, Apple TV, and Roku. Our free app allows you to stream all 3 of our channels live. You also have access to a large on-demand library, including full sporting events and daily newscasts. To find us, go to the store, search CCX, and download our free app. Then sit back and enjoy all of your favorite local content. The CCX Media app, available on Amazon Fire TV, Apple TV, and Roku.
Halftime here in Plymouth at Armstrong High School as the home team Falcons trail the Bloomington Kennedy Eagles by a score of 27-21 in what's been a back-and-forth non-conference affair here in Plymouth. As we take a look at our first half highlights, and it was a pretty fun game. Kennedy got out to a 7-0 lead, highlighted by Macy Miller draining a right wing 3. But the Falcons would respond. Emily Fisher, a little hesitation layup. Fisher would have 4 in the first half. Anna Smelzer played well off the bench. She had a game high, or team high 5. A couple nice plays here, including this little Euro step bunny in the lane to keep the Falcons close as they battled back to tie it at 7. But Haley Williams was a lot in the first half. The 5'9" senior guard, averaging 8 coming in, drained a couple three-pointers on her way to a game-high 11 points in the first half. Madison Fondow, answering for the Falcons, but again, great ball movement resulting in Macy Miller being one of 2 Kennedy players in double figures. She had 10. Defense for Armstrong helped keep them in the game, however. As again, Fisher turning points off of turnovers. And Haley Williams would answer as each team turned it over decently. Armstrong 7 turnovers in that first half. Bloomington Kennedy with 6. We take a look at leading scores. As we said, 2 players in double figures for the Eagles in Williams and Miller. And then for Armstrong, very balanced scoring with Cooley and Fisher with 4 apiece, and Smelzer and Erickson 5 apiece. Pretty low scoring first half as we sit at 27-21 with the second half still to come. We'll have that second half for you coming up. People eating popcorn, as you should at a high school basketball game. More to come from Plymouth here in a moment on CCX. Basketball to start the second half as Haley Williams hoping to build on her 11-point first half performance. She had it going from all over. Steals in transition, draining threes. And honestly, I think the difference in the game right now is how Kennedy's been able to shoot the 3-ball.
Well, exactly, and I think that's something that Coach is Johnson's very happy about, another player stepping up that maybe hasn't taken as big of a role.
Armstrong coming out of the timeout as we have an injured player, and they're going to stop play, I think. Wow, I guess they're not going to stop play. Fisher shoots a long 3, but Leilani Harris is limping in the background as a layup is good for Peterson. Now they stop play, and I think Quentin Johnson is kind of surprised that they didn't stop play.
Well, and I think part of that is because the other team had possession and was in the play, but I'm wondering if it's the way she's coming, if it's her knee or...
Yeah, I don't know if it's her knee or her ankle, but I think she may have just stepped on a foot underneath.
Oh, yep.
She went hard to the deck. Okay. What I was going to say, though, is Robbinsdale Armstrong came out in the zone.
Well,
so
I think that's one of the things that, discussion at halftime for Armstrong. Okay, number one, we've got to adjust to their different defense when they come out and come in zone. Be prepared for the press, but what are we going to do different defensively to disrupt them?
Now they're back to switching all ball screens at the top. Jade Peterson, meanwhile, on the other end, scored her first basket. Now Miller gets into the lane. Little runner, no good. Maybe bothered by Dillard, and it goes out of play back to Armstrong. So right now you have the center for Bloomington Kennedy, Leilani Harris, on the bench with a presumed injury. And Armstrong hoping to cut into the deficit a little more. Good wraparound pass. Dillard on the floor. Somehow gives it to Emily Fisher. Shot clock at 17. Re-entry in the post for Peterson. That's no good. Carter snags down the rebound.
They're hoping to, and I think they're looking, let's get Jade the ball, and Jade, make some post moves and get some good shots up there. That'll be a good advantage for them. Not something they did much of in the first half. There's a lot of outside jumpers and some drives as Miller guarded by Erickson. Little dribble weave at the top for Kennedy as they back it out with 10 on the shot clock. Miller on the cut, kicks it out. Jackson inside the three-point line, no good. Saved in bounds, and we have our first shot clock violation of the game.
after that ball didn't hit the rim.
Actually, that's my first one of 2 games that I've been at that I've seen it happen.
2 turnovers in the first half now for for Bloomington Kennedy. 27-23, Eagles still lead it. 2 minutes gone by here, second half.
Armstrong wants to build on the momentum they had coming into the end of the second half, where they brought the game back in a little closer.
Again, Kennedy this time switching all the screens up top as Fisher drives. Can't get it to go, but Peterson there, and she can't get the stick back either. So this time Kennedy gets the rebound, and now Macy Miller pushes ahead, and Fisher reaches across and fouls her. Emily Fisher, I believe that's her first personal. Nope, second. Second personal on Fisher.
You know, Armstrong was more patient in that last possession of moving the ball. It just got to get it to drop for him.
Swung near side for Jackson. Williams attacks into the lane. Wild layup, no good. Fisher down the left wing. Fondau holds. Pressured by Jackson. On the cut, Fisher can't get the layup to go. Peterson there. That's the second straight trip. We've seen a layup miss by Fisher and Peterson missing the putback.
They got to find that sweet spot on that backboard.
Yeah, got to convert those opportunities. Step back for Macy Miller, no good. And a ragged start to the second half. 27-23 as Emily Fisher jogs it across the timeline. Dillard wants a 3 and hits. First basket of the game, first points for Maya Dillard. She's the last starter to score for both teams, and her 3 cuts the deficit to just 1. Miller's runner is no good, and Peterson is now gobbling up all those rebounds. Great hit ahead for Fondau, and it's saved ultimately on the line was Alessia Richardson. Good to see Harris back in. She does have a brace on that right ankle, so you wonder if that's been a problem for her. Her 4 minutes gone by here, second half, 27-26. 5-0 run to start the second half. Make that an 8-0 run. Timeout Antoine Easley after his team takes its first lead of the game at 29-27.
You know, I'm thinking in those possessions, and I'm looking at it right now, and Kennedy's really happy that they have Kennedy back in there, because Armstrong was doing a great job being able to get in and get some drives to the bucket. I think it'll make a big difference once she gets back in the game now defensively for her. We'll see how well her ankle holds up.
8-0 run to start the second half. And, you know, one player we were talking about as Quentin Johnson continues to instruct his team is Savannah McGowan. She was an all-state caliber player, not playing her basketball at Illinois State. When you have a player that's that dominant for you, how hard is it to replace that player next year, or do you really need multiple players to step up?
Well, right now I think they need multiple players to step up with her. I mean, she had a long career here, a lot of good, you know, just a very talented young woman as a post in there, and you lose that size and what she was able to do. And this year, they're going to need a lot of people to step up to help with that. They lost 4 people to graduation last year, so there's a lot of adjustments they got to make.
Turnover forced. Erickson sidesteps, 3 from the right wing, no good. That might have brought the roof off. Again, a turnover forced. Kennedy really struggling to take care of the basketball. 3 turnovers and no points here in this second half. So whatever adjustments Antoine Easley did, they seem to be working. And Kennedy just looks out of sync offensively. A lot of one-on-one drives into the lane and among a thicket of defenders.
Well, I think one of the things that Coach focused a lot on at halftime was defense. Where, like right there, that was a great move that Fisher made. It just couldn't hang on to it, but I mean, that would have been another steal on her part.
Yeah, Miller tried to go backdoor. Fisher knocked it out of play. Just 3 seconds left on the shot clock. So again, if you see a team going this deep into the shot clock, you know the defense is tough, and the steal by Fonda. Read it well. Here comes Fisher. Peterson using ball fakes in the middle. First time into the game for number 33, Marin Wilson, the 6'1" junior. And we have a travel and a turnover on Armstrong. They lead it by 2. They're picking up with a token full court press. Miller off the mark. She's 0 for 3 in this second half, and jump ball, it's going to belong to Robbinsdale Armstrong. Now Miller is a good one-player press break for sure, but yeah, you could just see how it sped him up.
Right, exactly. And I think once Wilson gets her adjusted to this half, it'll see her inside and being able to move. Some of the little mistakes won't happen.
Knocked out of play. It'll stay with the Falcons, but don't look now, Patty, but it's a 5-minute and 18-second drought to start the second half for Kennedy. And I think that's a big credit to the defense that Armstrong is playing.
I think so. I think the adjustments they made, and then the calmness that they're starting to play on offense.
Erickson shuffled the puppies, and so it'll turn back over to Kennedy. Armstrong currently on an 8-0 run. To start the second half, they've taken a 2-point lead.
Well, and that's one thing that Armstrong will be talking about is the number of unforced turnovers that they've had. You know, the travels, some of those other things.
Fondo has been everywhere defensively and a little too aggressive right there. But as a coach, Patty, you'd rather see that kind of mistake, right? A mistake of aggression rather than,
yes.
You know.
And then you're in control. You're going after the ball. It's going to go either way. But yes, you know, it's the hard work, the defensive movement. It's the little ones that you just got to relax and be in more control.
You can't fault her activity, though, and her desire.
No, exactly.
That's not something you can coach.
Those kids are so fun to coach because they work so hard.
Carter picks up her dribble in a bad place, and it's taken away by Smilzer. Miller keeps trying to draw that charge. Instead, it's Wilson with a beautiful post move inside.
A left hand. She took it, went around, left hand little hook up there.
Marin Wilson, an impressive little pirouette for 2. Underneath Carter, and the basket. Lid remains on the basket for this Kennedy team. 10-0 run. Erickson can't make it 13. Maybe Haley Williams needs to start taking over. She had 11 first half points. Her team currently on a 6.5-minute drought to start the second half. Underneath, Peterson. Looked like she got ball from here, but.
Well, and you know, I've been thinking as I've been watching it, Wilson is being a nice added to them right now, giving them a little more height. She's been pulling off some boards. She's made some good posts and moves inside.
And you wonder with the 5'10" players inside for Kennedy if this is her type of game.
Well, exactly, and it gives them more support on the defensive end.
Carter, or Harris rather, drains the first point of the second half. Leilani Harris. Goes 2 for 2. Good-looking free throw stroke for Harris as it's 31-29, and that ends a 10-0 run to start the second half for Armstrong. Wilson grabs the loose ball on the weak side, gives it back for Erickson, who drains a triple. And she's starting to show, Patty, why we highlighted her in the open.
Well, she's getting time on her shot. She's taking her time, and nice setup, nice follow-through.
5 in the first half, 6 already in the second half. Her 11 leads all scorers. Williams too hard on the runner. It looks like the same team, and it's a travel as a result. But
unfortunately,
again,
you're right. It ended up being the same team all the way down.
And great job by Wilson to snag the offensive rebound on the weak side and then kick it out for the 3. Unselfish play. Largest lead of the game for Armstrong. 3 here for Harris is no good. Wilson boxing her out. And I think that's going to be a foul on Harris, who clearly is dealing with kind of a gimpy ankle. Actually, they're going to get, they are going to get Harris. Her third foul. 34-29. 5-point lead from the left wing, hard off the glass, and Harris is there for the rebound. Give credit to her, she's still battling, still working hard as Miller dials up a three. That's no good. Erickson with a quick hit ahead for Cooley. And a wild shot out of control, but a blocking foul on Miller. And so Ella Cooley, the freshman guard, will shoot two.
Well, and right now you're seeing Armstrong really stepping up on the defensive boards right now. They're doing a great job of blocking out the bigs. And I think that's the added addition of another big coming in to help them out.
So good adjustment by Antoine Easley as Cooley's free throw is rims in and out. Jackson will take out Harris.
Seems to walk okay.
Fisher's returning. Yeah, there doesn't seem to be any ill effects, but for a while there, Patty, she couldn't put any weight on that foot as Cooley buries the second. 35-29 our score.
Yeah, I was a little worried when I was watching her come out going, ooh, because it just looked like she couldn't put any weight on.
6-point lead, the largest of the game, as again Armstrong will dial up a little zone. Miller, she's a big fan of throwing the head back, trying to get the foul call. Has not worked for her so far, I gotta say. The refs are, it's been a well-refed game, I think.
Nice
Long
shot.
three drained by Haley Williams, continuing her hot shooting. First three-pointer of the second half made. That's how they're gonna stay in this. Dillard underneath with the putback.
That was almost like a little bit of a block right in there, and she got the rebound, put it back up.
Back to a 5-point lead as Miller splits the defense. Underneath, looking for Carter, doubled in the post. And I think they might get Dillard, who looks bewildered.
That's kind of where she's gotten her fouls today, is it's the over-aggress where she's ending up wrapping around, and that's where she's gotten most of her fouls. It's like sometimes you just got to let go and wait for her to get in the right position.
Well, just stay straight up.
Yeah.
If you're straight up and down, you're entitled to a certain amount of space.
Yeah, she can't go over her back to try and get the ball, which she did on that last one.
Already the fourth team foul of the second half on the Falcons. So we're nearing the midway point of the second half. Miller fouled by Smelzer, and she'll go to the line for two. That's something that Macy Miller has done a really nice job of tonight, Patty, is get to the free throw line.
Exactly. She likes to attack the bucket, and she's been successful at doing that, which, like you said, has put her at the free throw line.
Macy Miller will try to trim the lead from 5. First points of the second half for her. Couple substitutions as it was a brief rest for Harris. She's back in.
It's kind of been a little bit of a tale of two halves. I mean, the first half kind of went mostly Kennedy's way. So far this half had been going Armstrong's way. We'll see how they adjust as we progress down.
Miller drains both free throws and cuts the lead to 3. Fisher, hesitation dribble, splits defenders and scores. She's been getting to the basket seemingly at will tonight as well.
When you can see, she likes that. She feels comfortable doing that. She just has to take advantage of that backboard.
And for Miller at the top, 9 minutes to go in the game. Miller lowers her shoulder, and we've got another foul, a blocking foul. I believe this is going to be the 6th team foul on the Falcons in this second half. As Ella Cooley picks up her third foul. .15 on the shot clock for Kennedy. Harris in the paint. Doubled again, trying to get it out. Back to Harris down low. I love that return pass from Jackson, as she just fed the post right back there, and Dillard picks up her 4th.
You know, that's what we always said to the posts, you know, kick it back out, repost up, and guard see them, or wings, who's ever out there. If they do that, repost, hit them again.
That was about as quick a repost as I've ever seen.
Yeah,
that was basically a touch pass. As Harris, who's a good free throw shooter, knocks down her third of the half. Dillard now has to go out with 4 fouls. And Armstrong, you know, Kennedy's already in the bonus with 8:41 to go here in the second half.
When I think Dillard last time thought she got a block on that, but
Harris can't get that one to go. 39-35. Fondau loses it. Stewart into the lane, lost it as well. Jump ball, it's going to stay on this end with Kennedy.
And I think that's still going to be a discussion actually on both sides of the number of unforced turnovers both teams have given up.
And now we have a timeout taken by someone, although Stewart is down and has remained down. That is, Alessia Richardson. Oh, and now she's popped up. Seems to be okay, Alessia Richardson. As Richardson, you see, just kind of got stretched a little bit on the kind of foot kind of gave out on her a little bit.
And then I think, you know, stretched, and then it looked like she landed right on the knee on top of it. So probably maybe a little muscle, hopefully. Nothing serious.
Jackson replaces her in the lineup. 4-point deficit for Kennedy as they inbound the basketball. Miller in the lane, pops, misses it. Erickson with the rebound. Up ahead for Fisher. Three-pointer on the way is good by Cooley.
Again, beautiful ball movement.
Great ball movement. Yep.
You know, and that's the things in film the next day you're going to look at. Where were we most successful? When we were patient, moved the ball more.
Largest lead of the game, this for Armstrong, as Miller tries to answer. Long in the rebound. She's had a tough shooting night from the field. Has gotten to the line, though. Offensive rebound for Kennedy, and 8th team foul picked up as Carter will go to the line. And again, good position by the bigs of Kennedy.
Exactly, and just, you know, it's hard for those posts to understand, okay, I got beat, I just got to go straight up. I can't keep coming over or reaching on them.
Tasha Carter averaging 5 a game, has 2 tonight, has struggled from the charity stripe. Foul discrepancy in this half is marked, 8-2. Armstrong with 8 fouls and Kennedy with just 2.
I think some of that's coming from the quickness that Kennedy's doing inside, and the Armstrong players trying to get caught up with the move or being overly aggressive on those rebounds.
Well, and part of it, too, is the defensive aggressiveness as well.
Right, exactly.
High ball screen for Fondau. Fisher drives to the hole, can't get it to go, but I think Miller just picked up another personal foul. Just her second. She's got 12 points tonight, does Macy Miller, as Emily Fisher goes to the free throw line. Has not been there tonight. 6 points in the game for her. In and out on the first. Largest lead of the game for Kennedy was 12 points. For Robbinsdale Armstrong, it's been 7. They lead it by 6 right now. Clock gonna start being a factor soon here. 7:27 to go as Fisher goes 1 for 2.
Bringing a little bit of pressure now, full court.
Yeah, they've liked to do that off makes. They trap Miller out near the timeline, and smart timeout taken by Quentin Johnson. He'll take a full timeout. As sometimes you get sped up, and then sometimes you get trapped, and that's when a timeout comes in handy.
Well, it actually maybe came in handy for both sides as that trap was going, so we didn't get any fouls too. Yep,
no question. Couple basketball broadcasts coming up for you here on CCX. Marantha and Cooper will be an interesting battle. Big battle in boys basketball between traditional powers Totino Grace and Hopkins. And then Hiawatha Collegiate and Cooper. So a lot of hoops coming up here in the next week on CCX.
That would be another big one, too, with Champlain Park and Park Center coming up, too, Thursday. There's some great games coming up here and great matchups. Be fun to be able to watch the Totino and Hopkins game.
Yeah, and Champlain and Park Center, I mean, those kids normally know each other.
Yep.
You know, play together on some summer league teams, I'm sure.
Sure they.
And Maranatha has had some good teams as of late, especially on the girls' side, I believe.
Yeah, there was a few years back that they were in the state tournament quite a few times, and
I believe they're around here, right, Maranatha?
They're in Brooklyn Park. Yes.
Okay, yeah. Out of the timeout, 7:16 to go, 7-point lead for the Falcons. And their defensive intensity, I think, has been the key, Patty, in this second half to them taking the lead. Williams kicks it to the corner for Carter. Miller in the lane and hits.
Yeah, she kind of got left open for a little while there, and then they readjusted and went and found her.
And now, if you're Kennedy, you got to get some stops.
Exactly. You know, be smart defense.
Erickson's three, no good. Wilson, some valuable minutes off the bench, pulls it down. Out for Erickson. Good ball movement to Fondau. Gets to the cup. Carter commits the foul. And I like that Fondau didn't settle for the jumper there, decided to attack the closeout.
Exactly. You know, it was interesting to see how that was happening and just staying the course in there.
Yeah, she rolls in that first one.
Because we all know she can make the outside shots too, but to go ahead and attack, which they need to do. I mean, we talked about a little while ago, the foul difference right now, 8 and 4, and they need to start attacking the bucket, maybe getting an and one, or at least getting to the free throw line.
Well, and it seems to me too that if a player, an opposing defender, like if you give them the same thing every time, they're going to know what you're going to do. But if you vary it up, they're not going to know whether they can close out as aggressively.
Right, and you have to have more to your game than just one. It can't be just one-dimensional.
45-38 is the pressure. Again, this time broken by Kennedy, and Williams misses the bunny, gets her own rebound. Among the trees, decides to kick it out. Miller wants a three, off the mark. Harris is there for a rebound, and this time she's fouled, and not much that Fisher or Fondau can do down low with Harris.
There were a lot of bodies down there, and that was the point that many times coming. It was like, it's either going to be a basket or a foul coming up.
So Leilani Harris to the free throw line for already the third time in this second half, trying to keep her team in this game. Falcons trying to even their record at 1-1. They started the season just this week, losing to Mounds View in a close one on Tuesday. No shame in that, though. The Mustangs have a good program.
Yes, they do.
Harris, 1 for 2 to make it 45-39. And now it's Kennedy's turn to apply some full court pressure. Fisher, maybe the most confident dribble on this floor, her and Miller.
I agree with you. She seems very comfortable with the ball in her hands.
Williams bounces for Miller at the top of the key. Inside of 5:50 to go in the game.
You need a ball handler like that that's comfortable and confident with the ball, because that kind of calms your whole team. You know what's going to happen.
And she can get you into your offense too.
Exactly. And when your main floor general is just rattled or all over the place, then that changes the whole intensity of your team.
Fondau fouled Jackson, or rather Jackson fouled Fondau. As Harris gets replaced by Carter. I really like how the substitution patterns of Quentin Johnson, he's really almost doing hockey shifts where he's having the short, bursts with each kid, and then obviously outside of like Miller and Williams.
Exactly.
As they're going to try to trap Fisher up top. It doesn't work as Armstrong breaks the timeline. But now with the shot clock, you just get into your offense that much later. Wilson with some nice footwork again. This time she's all Swedish and no finish.
She certainly.
That's a hockey one. I borrowed that from hockey.
She certainly has brought another element, though, to the game for Armstrong right now.
Yeah, good post presence for the Falcons.
Defensively and offensively.
Fondau has been everywhere defensively in the second half. By my count, already the 6th turnover of the half for Kennedy. Fondau underneath for Wilson, just when we talked about. And Antoine Easley, as he likes to do, takes an immediate full timeout.
That was perfect teamwork with them, and just to see it, move the ball, see her going down the lane, get her the ball, nice use of the backboard also. That
was just a great two-player action as Wilson set the pick,
screen.
Rolled. That's how you draw it up.
You love it when they do that and they set that pick and they roll the right way and just get that hand up, give you an easy, the guard loves it too because it's an easy pass to him and then an easy finish.
Wilson with 4 in the second half. Largest lead of the second half at 8. And seeing that kind of thing happen, right, whether it's swinging the ball, which results in a three-pointer, or a perfect pick and roll or pick and pop or something, that has to just reinforce in kids' minds the effectiveness of it, right? That, like, this is why we do this, for that result.
Exactly. It's like when they see, okay, this is why we've drilled this and drilled this, the light bulb goes off. And when they see that, the other teammates become more confident with each other, too. And you can see their intensity pick up then, too.
This game on ccxmedia.org. Visit our website for a full schedule of upcoming broadcasts, hockey, basketball, and more in this winter season. No doubt, Patty, we'll be seeing you on more CCX girls basketball broadcasts in the near future.
Most likely.
Except if you're in Arizona.
Except if I can get to Arizona for a while,
right.
Yes.
So out of the timeout, 2-2-1 press being employed by Coach Easley and the Falcons.
Right now he wants to slow him down a little bit, not make it that easy to get the ball up the court.
Miller just dribbles around Fondau.
He didn't want it that easy up the court.
Yeah, what more press break do you need if you're Quentin Johnson? Carter holds with 19 on the shot clock. Miller with 10, drives. That's going to be a charge for sure, as Fondau was waiting for her on the left block.
She sure was, and she just, great presence, knew what was coming, and just took the charge.
6th team foul. The foul's evening out a little bit. Now it's 9-6. An 8-point lead for Robbinsdale Armstrong here as we near the 4-minute mark to go, second half.
Oh.
Up ahead.
We got a lot of bodies flying all over the place again.
Harris, hands for Williams. That missed everything, and it's a rebound underneath and a foul on Carter.
Now they're in a 1-on-1 now.
Williams and Miller leading the way with 14 apiece, but the shooting has clammed up for Bloomington Kennedy in this second half, just 12 points.
It is, like we said a little bit ago, it seemed like they were getting the shots they wanted and things were dropping well for them in the first half, and the adjustments, you got to credit Armstrong, the adjustments they've made has made it more difficult for them, and their offense for Armstrong's seeming more confident right now.
Armstrong at one point in the second half trailed by as many as 12 as Erickson's long on that free throw. Now they lead it by 8 as we're inside of 4 minutes to go. Miller, great crossover. They camp out in the lane. This time Fondau called for the block.
I don't know. I thought it looked like the same thing last time.
Yeah, I think she did too. But that crossover was pretty sweet from Miller.
They're going to have a conversation about what did you see.
Yeah. She was in the lane, not in the restricted area. As we see that here, did she establish position?
She was outside of the arc.
I think that was one where she kind of floated underneath her and stopped. So I think it's fair if you call that a block.
But they
changed it to a charge. Wow. Okay. For Miller, it's her fourth, I think. Yeah, her fourth personal foul. Should have had more confidence in myself right there. 3.5 minutes to go as Emily Fisher breaks the pressure all the way to the hoop, feeds Peterson. Maybe should have taken it herself.
Yeah.
Unselfish, though, by Fisher.
Taken herself or possibly kicked it out to Erickson, who was alone on the baseline over here.
So we've been stuck on 47-39 for a couple minutes as Williams will take a turn bringing it up. Credit to Fondau for knowing that Miller likes to get into that lane and waiting for it.
And be willing to sit there and take a couple charges like that, yes.
Yeah, pretty sure between the first half and the second half, there's probably 6 turnovers on Kennedy as Erickson commits the foul trying to defend Williams, or Miller rather. And Miller, Patty, it looks like is really trying to take over now
I think
Kennedy.
So. And I think as the point guard, and trying to get a spark going for your team. But if they go back to doing what they were doing in the first half, I think that will be to their advantage. Let's work in the inside-outside game.
Miller drains the first. She's found that shooting stroke from the free throw line. 11 in the first half, or rather 10 in the first half, 5 now here in the second. 2 for 2 there. She's 4 for 4 here in the second half, and it's a 47-41 lead. Kennedy not out of this yet.
No, and they're gonna pressure Fisher because they know she's the one they want to bring the ball up.
Miller swipes it away into the Armstrong bench. It'll stay down on this end with the red and blue. Bill Hupp and former Park Center head coach Patty Sorensen calling this early season non-conference game here in Plymouth. And it's been a good one. We thought it would be competitive, and it has. Fisher gets to the rack, gets a step, and if that's on Miller, that's going to be her 5th, and she'll foul out. It is.
And that's what I was going to say a little bit ago. It's like when she picked up that last one, they need her in there. They do not need her to get another foul.
Fifth, a personal foul on Macy Miller. So she'll leave with a game-high 16 points to her name, but that's a big loss for the Eagles, who see their point guard foul out.
Their point guard, their leading scorer, they're kind of their floor general.
10 in the first half, 6 in the second half, and she goes to the bench with 5 fouls. Avriana Jackson checks in as Emily Fisher steps to the foul line. 10 team fouls on the Falcons, 9 on Bloomington Kennedy. So still in the 1-1. And Fisher rolls that in. Madison Fondau, the 5'6" senior guard, has really led the way in this second half as Fisher goes 1 for 2. It's a 7-point lead as we near the 2.5-minute mark in the second half. Haley Williams will be the presumed ball handler now. Shot blocked, Carter grabs it. Pass swung around for Harris. She'll dial up a 3, in and out. Oh, that was halfway down.
I was going to say she must be able to make those shots because she's taken several tonight. That can be very dangerous when you have a big like that does well with her back to the basket and then can come out and hit the threes.
Oh, yeah. Ella Cooley holds on high, puts her shoulder down, gets to the hoop, no call. Underneath, Peterson, try again. And this time a jump ball. Peterson frustrated. The jump ball keeps it on this end with Armstrong as we're inside of 2 minutes to play. Cutting Cooley, misses it. Harris snags down the rebound. Kicked out for Williams. Runner can't get it to go. She has had some real tough luck with those layups today.
You know, I've seen that on both ends with some of these kids. Probably that's their shot, and they always make it. But
sometimes in a game, though, you've got that little extra adrenaline. Yep. You lose the touch a little bit. Erickson ties up Carter, and it'll stay down here with Kennedy. Neither coach has expended a timeout. Both teams in the double bonus. And just as I say that, Quentin Johnson takes a timeout to talk to his Eagles, who trail it by 7 with 1:28 to go.
Well, and what he's going to want to do is talk about, okay, we get our shot off here. First, we got to get the ball in, set up a good play, get a bucket, and then I anticipate we're going to see him jump right into a full court press. And that's the same thing on the other side. They've got to be anticipating that. So, okay, they're going to do this. Let's be ready to break it.
Yep, so Coach Johnson drawing up perhaps a press if on a make, and if they miss it, here's what you do as well.
Exactly. Know where your person is, pick them up right away. No easy layups, no easy buckets.
1:28 to go in the game, so Kennedy needs to get some stops, and if they don't get those steals, you might end up seeing some fouling to try to extend this game.
Yeah, and I'm sure Coach Easley is over here talking about be in control, take care of the ball. We're working on a stop right now. On a stop, be prepared, whatever comes, just take care of the ball. And we're already watching them now. They're double teaming Fisher. They don't want her to bring the ball up. Kennedy's going to stop, so somebody else has to be confident enough to do that and hang on to the ball.
Erickson would seemingly be a candidate.
I agree. I think she's very comfortable in that position also.
Maybe even Cooley. Well, that's a lot to ask for a freshman. Haley Williams grabs the ball. Jackson, rather. Harris. Too hard for Williams. It goes off of Harris and out of bounds. And that's tough. That's tough luck for Kennedy.
I think Kennedy was maybe even possibly going to try and do their own pick and roll over there with, with Harris.
Good substitution here as Smelser comes back in the game. She's a capable ball handler as well.
Mm-hmm.
Inbound for Erickson. Fisher will back it out as they try to foul. Stewart Richardson finally able to.
I think Coach Johnson wanted a foul, but he wanted her to go for the ball, not to. Mm-hmm. I saw him talking after, no, you got to go for the ball.
Each team with 10 personal fouls now, so the double bonus the rest of the way. As Fisher coolly sinks the first. Third free throw of the half for her. In and out. So 1 for 2 as Carter pulls down the rebound. 1 minute to go, second half, 49-41. Largest lead of the game for Armstrong at 8. Back out Richardson. Again, the pressure of Armstrong really dialed up here late. Williams 3, may have gotten deflected. Erickson pulls it away from a couple different Kennedy defenders. 38 seconds to go. Smelser in the corner for Erickson. Just a 6-second difference between shot and game clock as they got to try to foul. Williams trying to get a steal. Way too much time coming off, and finally Harris fouls Smeltzer out high. I'm sure Coach Johnson would have wanted a foul sooner.
Yeah, I'm anticipating that also, and I'm just watching and I'm looking at the composure right now, even with the Falcons, how they were moving the ball, knowing aware that they still had time on the shot clock. Take your time, make good passes, keep cutting to the ball.
Smelser, an impressive freshman, drains the first. First points of the second half for her. 2 for 2. 51-41. Largest lead of the game now for the Falcons as they're pulling away here at home. Really, that second half, they trailed by 6 at halftime. Opened the second half on an 10-0 run, and they have not looked back as a foul underneath will lead to free throws.
And that's what Coach Easley's saying. Look at the clock, look at the time, look at the score.
Yeah.
We don't need another foul. We don't need to put them at the free throw line.
Score and situation, right? Coaches
exactly.
preach it all the time. Carter drains her second free throw of the half. But yeah, I've been impressed with Smelser and her lack of fearlessness. She has been confident today as Fondau tracks down the rebound, and Smelser will dribble this one out.
Definitely some good things to build on here for the Falcons.
Robbinsdale Armstrong erases a 6-point halftime deficit. They score 30 in the second half, and they win it by a final of 51-42. Patty, this was fun.
This was fun. Great working with you again.
Robbinsdale Armstrong with plenty to build off of moving forward. They even their record at 1-1.
Yes, definitely. There's some really good things in for them, and especially how they came back in the second half. You know, and as far as Kennedy goes, it's just still working to work together as a unit and keep plugging along. They've got a lot of awesome things on their side too.
Peyton Erickson led Antoine Easley's squad with 11 points, 3 three-pointers as they pull away to win here at home and even their record at 1-1. Kennedy falls to 1-3 on the season. So that'll do it for us here in Plymouth. For color analyst Patty Sorensen, for director Isaac Rice, and our entire CCX crew, I'm Bill Huff, saying good night from Robbinsdale Armstrong. The Falcons earn a hard-fought comeback 51-42 victory over Bloomington Kennedy here at home. Thanks for watching this exclusive presentation of high school basketball on CCX.